You ever wonder why some women walk into a room and instantly grab attention without even trying? I mean, it's not just the way they dress or the way they do their hair. There's something more, something deeper. And believe it or not, science and psychology have a lot to say about it. Today, we're going deep. This isn't about just wearing the right lipstick or having the perfect figure. It's about how to stand out in a way that men notice, and not just notice, but remember. This is about looking better than other women in ways most people don't even think about. And the crazy thing, once you understand how it works, it feels like a superpower. Let's start with something subtle but incredibly powerful: your presence. That word gets thrown around a lot, but what does it really mean? Presence is the energy you carry, the confidence you exude, the way your eyes lock with someone else's without fear. It's the quiet comfort you have in your own skin. You don't need to say a word. People just feel it. Men notice that instantly, even if they don't consciously realize it. It's like their brain registers something special. You become magnetic, and it's not about arrogance. In fact, it's the opposite. Real presence comes from knowing your worth so deeply that you don't feel the need to prove anything. That's rare. That's powerful. Now let's talk about the psychology behind attention. Studies show that when a person is unpredictable, in a subtle, intriguing way, they tend to be more memorable. So what does this mean for you? It means not being overly available. It means letting your mystery breathe. It means you don't reveal everything about yourself too soon. When men sense that there's more to you than meets the eye, their brains kick into high gear. They start to imagine, to wonder. And curiosity, that's one of the strongest forces in attraction. You instantly become more interesting than someone who lays all their cards on the table in the first 5 minutes. Looking better isn't always about looking more. It's about evoking something that lingers. Let's shift gears a bit. Ever heard of behavioral elegance? It's this concept in psychology that suggests people respond more positively to those who move and speak with grace, control, and intent. Think about that. The way you walk into a room, the way you tilt your head when you listen, the tone of your voice, it all sends signals. You don't have to be loud to be noticed. In fact, sometimes it's the soft-spoken woman who owns the whole atmosphere. Men aren't just watching what you look like, they're watching how you carry yourself. That elegance, that subtle self-assurance, that's what leaves a lasting impression. You become someone who looks better without even trying harder. Confidence. Real confidence is so rare that it's almost intoxicating. But here's the catch. Fake confidence is easy to spot. Real confidence is quiet. It doesn't need to dominate or seek approval. And men, whether they admit it or not, are biologically drawn to it. When you believe you're enough, you shine. You smile without force. You laugh without needing to be liked. You talk like you matter because you know you do. That kind of energy can't be copied or faked. And the truth is, it doesn't come from validation. It comes from doing the inner work, healing what needs to be healed, and choosing to show up for yourself. That's what makes you look better than any woman who's just playing the part. Now here's a little secret. Men are incredibly visual, but not in the way most women think. Yes, looks matter. But it's the kind of beauty that gets their attention that's often misunderstood. You don't need to be model perfect. In fact, studies have shown that men are more drawn to women who show uniqueness. A little scar, a freckle they didn't expect, a crooked smile. It's authenticity. It's that natural beauty that doesn't feel filtered or forced. And when a woman owns her flaws and doesn't hide behind layers of insecurity, she becomes radiant. Men sense that. It hits different. You're not competing anymore. You're standing alone. Another piece of the puzzle, emotional intelligence. This might sound unexpected, but men deeply crave being understood. Most won't say it, many don't even realize it. But when a woman has the ability to tune in, to really listen, not just to respond, but to understand. She becomes unforgettable. You're not just someone who looks good, you're someone who feels good to be around. And let's be real, that's the kind of beauty that lasts. That's the kind of beauty that makes a man compare every woman he meets afterward to you. And here's where it gets fascinating. Mirror neurons, these little cells in the brain, make us reflect the energy of the people around us. So when you're calm, confident and warm, people reflect that back. You literally make them feel better in your presence. That's powerful. That's psychological influence. Men may not know why they feel drawn to you, but they'll keep thinking about you. That's how you stand out. That's how you look better without even saying a word. Your vibe becomes your power. Let's not forget one of the most overlooked factors, your voice, the pitch, the rhythm, the warmth. A study from the University of Sussex found that men respond more positively to voices that are slightly breathier and lower in pitch. It subconsciously signals femininity, calm, and confidence. But more than that, it's how you speak. Do you speak with purpose? Do your words land gently, or do they come out rushed and anxious? When you speak slowly, clearly, and intentionally, it signals control. You're not seeking permission to talk. You're commanding space with ease. That's attractive. That's unforgettable. Let's take a moment to talk about energy, because no matter what you wear, how much makeup you have on, or how perfect your outfit is, none of it matters if your energy is off. People can feel bitterness. They can feel insecurity, but they can also feel light and peace and presence. The women who stand out most, they radiate warmth. They smile with their eyes. They're not constantly calculating how they're being perceived. They're just being. That authenticity, that peace, that's rare. And when men come across it, they don't forget it. Let's get a little deeper. Men are biologically wired to protect and pursue, but only when there's something to pursue. So many women give too much too fast, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, energetically. What if you allowed space? What if you became the woman who invites curiosity instead of giving away the whole story on day one? That's not manipulation. That's self-respect. That's being the kind of woman who lets a man show up instead of chasing him down. You become rare. And in today's world, rare is beautiful. Rare is better. Rare is unforgettable. Now let's talk about self-expression. The way you dress does matter, but not in the way fashion magazines make it seem. You don't need the latest trends. You need alignment. When your style matches your energy, when it feels like you, people feel that authenticity. And men, they don't care if your bag costs $3,000. They care if you look comfortable, radiant, and put together in a way that feels honest. Your clothes should tell a story about who you are, not who you're trying to be. And when they do, that's when you walk into a room and people take notice. There's also something powerful about being unpredictable, not in a chaotic way, but in a refreshing way. When you're not always texting first, when you're not always available, when you're full of surprises, plans, ideas, adventures. Men find that fascinating. Predictability is safe, but mystery is magnetic. It creates space for longing, for imagination, and that's what makes attraction stick. You become the kind of woman he thinks about on a random Tuesday afternoon because he can't quite figure you out. That's how you become the one he compares others to. Now let's talk mindset, because nothing changes on the outside if the inside isn't solid. You can dress the part, walk the part, talk the part, but if your self-talk is toxic, it'll show. You can't fake inner peace. You can't fake healed energy. But when you truly like yourself, when you root for yourself, when you show up with love for who you are, that radiates. And men, they feel that. They might not be able to explain it, but it pulls them in. That's what sets you apart. That's what makes you look better, because beauty without self-worth is forgettable. But beauty with depth, that's powerful. Let Me say this loud and clear, there is no competition when you are aligned with yourself. Other women aren't your rivals. They're not your enemies. You don't need to outshine them. You need to shine as you. That's what makes you incomparable. That's what makes men turn their heads, not because you're trying to be someone else, but because you're fully rooted in who you are. And that energy, that's the kind that lingers in their mind. That's the kind they talk about long after the night is over. Looking better isn't about winning a race. It's about being in your own lane, walking it with grace. As we wrap this up, remember this: beauty fades, trends change, but energy, presence, soul, that doesn't go out of style. The woman who learns to cultivate those things becomes the kind of woman men chase, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. You're not just someone they want to look at, you're someone they want to know. And once they do, it's over. That's the power of understanding yourself, your worth, and the psychology behind attraction. So if you're watching this and thinking, okay, where do I start? Start with you. Look in the mirror and start choosing to believe that you are already enough. Work on your mindset. Cultivate your peace. Refine your presence. Express your truth, and most importantly, protect your energy. That's what makes you look better than any woman in the room, not just today, but always, because you're not here to compete, you're here to be. And that, more than anything else, is what men notice.